Now, Xbox knows it has got work to do. Their CEO, Asha Sharma, has commented on Xbox's latest financials as everything is going down again. Hardware revenue declined by 30% last quarter, while overall Xbox revenue declined by 5%. This is wild. I wish they would give us a lot more detail on this, because every single quarter for it feels like the past, I don't know, year or two, it's probably even more, it's just been down, 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 down. And it goes on to say here, Microsoft's Q3 earnings report for the 3-month period ending March 31st showed that Xbox content and services revenue was down 5% based on the same period last year. Hardware revenue, meanwhile, declined 33% year on year. I mean, Xbox isn't even for sale in some parts of the world now. It's just like a ghost. It's just gone. So this is currently a recurring situation for Xbox. Its Q2 earnings result also showed a year-on-year decline of 5% and 32% respectively, while Q1 showed a growth of 1% in content and services, but a 29% decline in hardware revenue. It's not looking good, right? So reacting to the latest financial results, Sharma, who took over from Phil Spencer in late February and therefore wasn't in charge during most of the Q3 fiscal period, posted on X that Xbox will have to continue to work hard to turn around fortunes. Xbox earnings today, she wrote, while we have made progress expanding the business and our margins, player and revenue growth has not met our ambition. We know we have work to do to earn every player today and into the future. During an earnings call discussing the latest financial results, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella made a number of references to Xbox, noting that foundational work is currently being put in place to win back fans and strengthen engagement. Oh, it's really not that difficult. Like, come on, just stop shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you massively increased the prices of your consoles. You doubled the price of Xbox Game Pass. You gave away all your exclusives to your competitors. You didn't release any good exclusives for like years, it felt like. You went and bought Activision for like 70 billion. You then put it into Game Pass. Then it doesn't make a difference. Then you take it back out. You then reduce Game Pass, but you still have it higher in price than it was before your price increase. Keep it simple. Go back to good exclusive games only for Xbox. You've got enough studios to do that, right? I actually think as well they should at this point scrap Game Pass or copy the model that PS Plus has, where none of this day one game stuff. They've conditioned so many of their user base to not actually buy the games. Like, games are like a piece of art, but Game Pass almost makes it just like, just expendable content. It's like Netflix just scrolling through stuff. Yep, no, I'll play it for 5 minutes, play it for 5 minutes. It's just not good for gaming, I think. And then they wonder why no one is buying Xbox, because they've eliminated a lot of the reasons you would want to own one. I feel they've done so much damage, and I hope they can turn this around, as I say, because we need competition. We can't have Sony just being the lone wolf out here. He also went on to say, Nadella said that the Xbox team is recommitting to our core fans and players and shaping the future of play. Adding, last week's Game Pass changes are one example of how we are staying responsive to customer feedback. Hey, let's be honest, this is a lot of bullshit, isn't it, right? So, is recommitting to our core fans. They've said that all along they were, so are they now admitting that they were not committed to their core fans? So people who actually forked out their hard-earned cash for an Xbox console were just kind of cast aside, and then everything was an Xbox. They were like actively pushing you to play your Xbox on like a Fire Stick, that instead of buying a console, which is a far worse experience streaming via Xbox cloud game streaming versus actually playing it locally on your console. So it's just so stupid, right? And then last week's Game Pass changes are one example of how we're staying responsive to customer feedback. This is good because so many people cancelled and downgraded their Game Pass after the price increase. This is the only language companies understand, people. Voting with your wallets. So everyone who did that, well done. Mine's is stacked to 2027. Once it runs out, I'm done. I just don't have the need for it anymore. He also noted that Xbox set new records for monthly Xbox active users in this quarter, as well as game streaming hours. I would love to see a lot more detail in this. They always throw out these vague statements. What is an actual Xbox active user these days? Because the amount of games they own, they probably count people who play on, like, Call of Duty and Minecraft and stuff like that. I would love to see all the detail about this, right? Because they don't give you any other like hard sales numbers. It'd be good if we saw actual sales numbers for consoles and stuff like that, and for Game Pass subscriptions, but we don't get told that. During the same presentation, Microsoft CFO Amy Hood warned that a quick turnaround for Xbox isn't realistic. No, I mean, no surprise there, right? And that it expects to see year-on-year declines in the Q4 period ending June 30th too, so they expect it to keep going down. In Xbox content and services, we expect revenue to decline into the low teens, reflecting a prior year comparable that benefited from strong first-party content, as well as the recent price changes for Xbox Game Pass as we focus on delivering more value to gamers. Who'd noted hardware revenue should decline year over year. Like, I really think the Series X generation was one of the generations they had a really good chance to make a good go of it, because they owned so many studios. Like, they're probably they must be the biggest publisher on the planet right now. They own so many studios. Even before they bought Activision, and then they bought Bethesda before that as well, they still had tons of studios, but they just could not get games out that were good quality. I feel like that was a big opportunity missed, because Sony hasn't been firing on all cylinders this year. Let's be honest, they've just been kind of cruising, right? They had this fascination with live service games, which has come back to bite them on the butt, because, I mean, we just need to think of Concord. That's all we need to say. We've had something like Concord happen, which is just shocking. They're still trying to push Marathon on. We've got, I think, was it Fair Games is still to be coming. So they have this fascination with stuff like that, and they've moved away from a lot of the core that made PlayStation really special, I would have said, which was a lot of these unique single player experiences. We've still had them, but I would say maybe not as often as we would have expected this generation, because it started with a bang with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. That was just an amazing game. So the door was there for Xbox to make a bit of a dent, I feel, because the Xbox Series X hardware was awesome, really good console, and supposedly on paper, better hardware and, more powerful than PS5. But that didn't seem to translate into any of the games which were third party and available on both systems. The PS5 regularly outperformed it when you watch a lot of the Digital Foundry's breakdowns on the games and things like that. So it was very, very strange. And now everything just seems like it's in the toilet, and they're trying to course correct. So I hope they do. I've said this many times. I am an Xbox fan. I love Xbox as well. I've got Series X, Series S, and an Xbox One that are all plugged in right now. Pretty much only use them for backwards compatible games, playing Xbox 360 games, and for the odd indie game on Game Pass and YouTube. I love watching YouTube on it. It's basically like my YouTube player. So they've now said that Microsoft Gaming is no more. It's now known as Xbox. Sharma said this last week in our mission statement for Xbox. And it mentions here they've also slashed the price of the highest Game Pass tier, which was Ultimate, and PC Game Pass last week, with Sharma claiming that the service has become too expensive for players. The platform holder also removed future Call of Duty launches from Game Pass, with analysts speculating that its inclusion into the service had made little impact on subscriber numbers, which is just bizarre. I didn't think the Activision purchase was a good thing at the time. A lot of the Xbox fanboy, channels, let's call them that, on YouTube were just singing its praise. It's going to be the best thing ever, blah, blah, blah. It was just such a huge purchase. And you knew as soon as that happened, Microsoft, that just its laser beam eye just focused right on it, being like, right, when are we getting our money back then? So yeah, I hope Xbox turn it around. They've got a lot of work to do. Asha seems to be saying all the right things right now. Not much action has happened, but this is a juggernaut you're trying to turn around. This is like an oil tanker you're trying to turn around. So I don't think it'll happen quickly. I hope they make the right decisions, get back to focusing on your core, the one that's kept you afloat this whole time. The Xbox console owners focus on them. To be fair, they have done one or two console updates the other day. I noticed the dashboard had changed. It looks a little bit sleeker and a little bit quicker. So fingers crossed, this is the moment of reckoning. They're going to take it serious. It's a shame. It sounds like it's right at the end of the Series X and S generation. They're getting serious with it. It begs the question, like, for the past 2 or 3 years within Xbox, like, actually, what the hell has been going on? What have they been doing? Sound off in the comments if you have any views on this, because I hope they do it. We need a strong Xbox to keep a strong PlayStation, in my opinion.